Meanwhile, Imran Khan has expressed grave concerns over COVID-19, saying that it can destroy and devastate economies of developing countries. He said the international community should be willing to waive off loans to these nations in case the situation worsens. In an interview, Khan said that he fears Pakistan will not be able to cope with a major outbreak, saying the country's health facilities would be overwhelmed and would lack resources.
Clearly, our health facilities, in case we get swamped by it, our health facilities will not be able to cope. And it's not just Pakistan. I would imagine the same in India, in the subcontinent, in African countries. You know, if it spreads, we will all have problems with our health facilities, which we just don't have that much capability. We just don't have the resources.
Expressing concerns over severe economic fallout of the outbreak, the leader said that if a serious outbreak happens in the country, the government's efforts to lift the economy out of near collapse would begin an unstoppable slide backward.
Because of the effects of the economic slowdown, they are likely, we are going to, my worry is poverty and hunger. That worries me much more right now. For that, I think, the world community has to think of some sort of a debt write-off for countries like us, which are very vulnerable. At least that will help us in coping with it.
Not just that, he also called for an end to sanctions on Iran, saying that they were crippling the nation's ability to contain the spread of the disease. So far, over 14,900 Iranians have tested positive and 853 have lost their lives. Most of Pakistan's 120 confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been traced back to Iran, and all of the 21 Afghans who tested positive had traveled to Iran.
I actually fear for what is happening in Iran too, because of the sanctions. Because the sanctions already have impoverished Iran. On top of it, this virus. So that should be a classic example of a place where at least now sanctions should be lifted, because they are in a terrible state right now.
The pandemic presents one of the biggest tests yet of Imran Khan's leadership since he took office in 2018. A full-blown health crisis will severely worsen the situation in the country, which is already struggling on multiple fronts.